Hello, Internet. Jesus loves you. My name is Cody, and this is the Christian News Show we do on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays with geeksundergrace.com. If you want to help support the show, there's a couple ways you can do that. First of all, you could share this video. That does amazing things. Or you could click right there and do it financially, but you don't have to. I understand if you don't. And before we get into the news, there are a couple things that I need to address for my last video. No, I am not changing any of my opinions, but it is Loeffler, not Laffler, much less ironic. And at the end of the video, I said things like this is grammar. Anyways, just a couple things you guys caught me on. Thank you for keeping me grounded. We can go on to the first story of the day. And for our first story of the day, I actually thought we would update to a story we talked about in our last video. In our last video, we talked about a bill that is being passed in Indianapolis, which allows companies to say, no, we are not going to serve you because we do not believe what you believe. At the time, it hadn't been for sure that the bill was going to be signed, but it was most likely it was going to happen. And it has. So rejoice, all of you people who are for it. Also kind of interesting, in our last video, we talked about Gen Con not coming to Indianapolis anymore if this bill was signed. Well, similarly, there is this church called the Disciples of Christ, which is a Christian denomination who are kind of doing the same thing. Indianapolis is kind of their headquarters. This is where they have all of their conferences, and they said they are no longer going to have those conferences if the bill was passed, saying that the bill is contrary to the values of their faith. So there's that, but from there I want to talk about Tebow because somehow he is still in the news. But it is totally understandable why he's in the news because the guy is awesome. You see, Salvation Army is going to be having a fundraiser to help raise money to help the homeless. Specifically the homeless in Manatee County, California. And good guy Tim Tebow, he is going to be there. He's helping with the initiative, hopefully going to be raising money as well. It's just always nice to see people in pop culture doing good. Going from that, I do think we should talk about Planned Parenthood and other abortion companies like it, because in the last 3 years, they have acquired $1.5 billion in taxpayer money. And that is with 94% of their services being abortions. And that other 6% is the reason they can get away with that. See, the government can't just outright fund abortions, but if your company does other services, then the government is then allowed to pay you. And I've voiced my opinions on it before. If you make it illegal, then you get Kermit Gosnell everywhere. But I find abortion to be terrible and awful, and I do not think that $1.5 billion of our tax money should be going towards it in any way. And if you are pro-choice in any way, allow me to take you to Crazy Town with our next story. You see, there's this woman who is pregnant, and she was looking on Craigslist for some baby clothes. And so she finds a seller, goes to that seller's house. If you have a weak stomach, this is where you stop. The pregnant lady went to the seller's house, where the seller took a knife and stabbed it through the belly of the woman and cut the 7-month-old baby out of her. And this isn't a weird Phil Robertson hypothetical. And so the baby obviously didn't make it, but the woman is supposed to get a full recovery. But the really crazy part to me is that the seller, Danelle Lane, is not being charged for murder because the baby was not yet born. It just really puts into perspective the question, when does life start? We can move on now so you can get your mind off of things. Last year or so, we talked about the government taking down crosses in China. Well, prayers out to Hong Yeezy, I'm probably saying that wrong. He will be in prison for the next year for gathering crowds to disturb social order. And this is because he gathered with a lot of people to protest the fact that 50 people were beat for protesting the crosses coming down. And part of me thinks that we should be mad, but it is China, and freedom doesn't necessarily ring there in the first place. And from that, we go to the final story of the day. I don't know why Boko Haram and ISIS news always goes last, but this one is good news. And that is that the Nigerian military is reporting that they have destroyed Boko Haram headquarters. In fact, they have completely retaken Gaza, which is what Boko Haram has called their capital city. So that's fantastic news. Obviously, it doesn't mean the end. Even with this headquarters being taken, they are still now looking for leaders who have run off, rescuing hostages. And also, there's most likely tons of different backup plans. So this is just a really big blow, and that's good. And question of the day, going back to the crazy lady who killed an unborn baby, is that considered murder to you or not because the baby wasn't born? I want to know what you guys have to say, so please leave a comment in the comment section below with your answer, even though I'm pretty sure I know everyone's going to say exactly what I said, that it is murder. But you don't have to. If you have a different opinion, share it. I want to know. Make sure you check out geeksundergrace.com. My name is Cody Armour, bringing Christian news in a not-so-boring kind of way every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. In closing, let the haters hate, love the Christians pray, and to everybody like, subscribe. I will see you later, and God bless.